Have you ever felt that your life began with a mystery too heavy to name, that your first breath was taken in the shadow of your mother's wounds? What if the pain you inherited was not a curse, but a secret initiation, an invitation from your soul itself? Today we explore a truth both mystical and unsettling, why the Wounded Mother Archetype may have chosen you. Carl Jung believed that archetypes are timeless patterns that shape our existence. Among them, the Mother Archetype holds immense power, both to nurture and to wound. But what happens when the mother you are born to carries deep scars of her own? Could it be that your soul chose this exact path not by accident but with purpose? Stay with me, because in this journey we will uncover why your mother's wounds may be the very reason your soul called you here. The suffering you inherited may conceal a hidden gift, a doorway into transformation, wisdom, and spiritual awakening. What if the very pain you once resisted was the key to the destiny you were always meant to live? In Jungian psychology, the mother is not only a person, it is an eternal image, an archetype that dwells in the collective unconscious. She is the giver of life, the one who feeds and shelters. Yet, within her light also hides her shadow. The wounded mother carries brokenness like a sacred vessel, shaping her children through the very cracks of her soul. Her wounds echo across generations, whispering lessons disguised as pain. This archetype appears in ancient myths and sacred stories. From Demeter mourning Persephone to the Virgin who suffers in silence, cultures across time have mirrored the paradox of the mother who gives and the mother who cannot give enough. She is the earth that nourishes and also trembles. She is both womb and wound, offering life while carrying the memory of her own scars. The wounded mother lives within history, myth, and us. To be born to a wounded mother is to enter the theater of her pain. You inherit not only her blood, but her silence, her fears, her unfinished battles. Her wounds weave themselves into your earliest lullabies, forming a language you understand before words. This transmission is not chosen by her conscious self, but carried by the archetype itself, an ancient pattern that shapes destinies far beyond her awareness. And yet, within the shadow lies hidden wisdom. The Wounded Mother Archetype awakens resilience in the soul that encounters her. Like fire, forging steel, her brokenness challenges you to grow stronger than you ever imagined. She unknowingly places before you the very obstacles that will sculpt your spirit, compelling you to search for light in places where darkness first taught you to see. The archetype of the Wounded Mother is not here to destroy you, but to initiate you. Through her, you are drawn into the great alchemy of transformation, where suffering becomes seed and pain becomes teacher. To understand her is to recognize that her story is not only hers, it is the myth of humanity itself. And if you listen closely, her wounds can guide you into the deepest truth of your own becoming. What if your soul, before entering this life, made an agreement, a sacred contract, to be born through the vessel of a wounded mother? In many spiritual traditions, the soul is not thrown into existence by chance. It chooses. It selects the lessons, the teachers, and even the wounds that will shape its evolution. Your mother's pain, though heavy, may have been the very terrain your soul sought to walk upon. Carl Jung spoke of individuation, the journey toward wholeness. What greater catalyst than the early struggle with a mother's shadow? The soul's contract is not about punishment, but transformation. You were not placed in her arms to suffer meaninglessly. You were called to awaken. Her wounds are mirrors, showing you the fragments within yourself that long to be seen, healed, and brought into the light of awareness. Think of it as a cosmic apprenticeship. Just as the blacksmith chooses fire to mold iron, the soul chooses difficulty to mold spirit. Your wounded mother is not only part of your story, she is part of your curriculum. Through her, you learn empathy, compassion, and the strength to rise beyond inherited sorrow. This is not cruelty, it is initiation. The soul seeks growth, and growth rarely comes from comfort. And so the question shifts from why me to what am I being prepared for? Each scar, each silence, each unmet need becomes a lesson carved into your path. The spiritual choice to be born through a wounded mother is a choice to learn endurance, forgiveness, and the alchemy of turning pain into wisdom. In this way, her suffering becomes the soil of your awakening. The soul contract does not bind you, it liberates you. For when you recognize the purpose within the wound, you step into your true power. You no longer carry her pain as a burden, but as a compass guiding you toward the higher destiny you were meant to fulfill. The archetype chose you because your soul was ready. Ready not just to endure the wound, but to transform it into light. At some point in life, the question surfaces like a silent scream. Why was I born into this family? It is a question that carries weight, because behind it lives the longing for justice, love, and belonging. To be born to a wounded mother often means feeling like life's lottery dealt you an unfair hand. Yet this question is not a sign of weakness. It is the beginning of a deeper awakening. Carl Jung reminded us that the patterns we inherit are not accidents but fragments of the collective story. Your family is not only personal, it is archetypal. Its wounds are echoes of humanity's wounds, replayed through the intimate stage of your childhood. To ask, why this family, is to open the door to a truth that transcends blame. The soul enters where it knows the lessons will be most profound. Your mother's struggles may have left you yearning for safety, love, or validation. But what if that very emptiness was meant to ignite the search for something greater? Like a seed buried in dark soil, your soul begins its journey not in light, but in shadow. That shadow becomes the very pressure that pushes you to grow, to rise, to break through the earth into the sun of your own becoming. The existential question is not meant to trap you, it is meant to liberate you. By asking why this family, you uncover a doorway from fate to purpose. The pain of your lineage is the raw material your spirit was called to work with, to transform into strength, empathy, and wisdom. What feels like an accident of birth is, in truth, the blueprint of your awakening. So when the question burns in your heart, do not silence it. Let it lead you deeper. For in the mystery of your family's wounds lies the secret of your path. You were not misplaced, you were placed with precision. The family you were born into may not have given you all you wanted, but it has given you exactly what your soul needed to fulfill its greater purpose. The wound is not an end, it is an opening. What begins as pain becomes the very passage through which transformation enters. To be born to a wounded mother is to inherit a crucible, a place where your soul is tested by fire. Yet fire does not only burn, it forges. The wounds you carry are not walls, they are thresholds, leading you from who you were told to be toward who you are meant to become. Carl Jung taught that the shadow, when faced with courage, becomes a source of power. In the same way, the mother's wound can evolve from a weight into a teacher. Each memory that once cut you becomes an invitation to heal, to integrate, to expand. What once seemed like chaos reveals itself as sacred architecture, shaping your resilience, your compassion, your ability to hold pain without being destroyed by it. Transformation through the wound is not about denying your suffering. It is about allowing it to speak. It is sitting with the silence you inherited and asking what wisdom hides within. In this process, you learn that healing is not erasing the past, but rewriting its meaning. The same stories that once chained you can become the very wings that lift you into freedom. Think of the wound as a hidden well. At first, it seems only to hold darkness, sorrow, and loss. But when you dare to descend, you find that beneath its depths lies living water, a source of strength you never knew existed. By facing the wound, you tap into this reservoir, discovering endurance, empathy, and spiritual clarity that comfort could never have given you. And so the wound becomes a paradox. The place of your deepest pain becomes the birthplace of your highest purpose. What was meant to break you becomes the very ground on which your soul stands taller. To transform through the wound is to realize that the wound itself was never your enemy. It was your initiation, guiding you into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Within the wound, there is always a gift waiting to be uncovered. The wounded mother, though unable to offer all the love you longed for, gives something rare and transformative. The invitation to seek beyond her, to awaken the strength that only absence can create. Her brokenness forces you to grow roots deeper than the soil she could provide, teaching you to draw life from hidden places. This hidden gift often takes the shape of empathy. Because you have felt the sting of unmet needs, you carry a unique sensitivity to the suffering of others. You know the language of silence, the weight of longing, and the ache of rejection. This knowledge, though born of pain, becomes medicine. It allows you to step into the world as a healer, a guide, a light bearer, for those still trapped in the dark. Another gift is resilience. The child of a wounded mother learns to endure storms early. What might break others becomes the very training ground for your spirit. You learn to bend without shattering, to adapt, to rise again and again. Resilience is not only survival, it is the quiet strength that transforms pain into power, teaching you that your spirit is unbreakable, no matter how fragile the beginning. There is also the gift of vision. Through the cracks in your mother's love, you glimpse the greater truths of existence. You see that love must expand beyond family, beyond blood. You recognize that wholeness is not given, it is forged. This vision allows you to look at life not as something that happened to you, but as something unfolding for you, guiding you toward the soul's higher destiny. And perhaps the greatest gift of all is compassion for your mother herself. To see her not only as the one who hurt you, but as a soul carrying her own unhealed wounds. When you reach this point, forgiveness is no longer forced, it flows naturally. For the hidden gift of the wounded mother is the awakening of love that transcends pain, a love that heals not only you but generations before and after you. As we arrive at the closing of this exploration, let us take a moment to honor the journey you have undertaken. Being born to a wounded mother is often perceived as a burden, a beginning marked by incompleteness and pain. Yet, from the perspective of the soul, it is neither random nor cruel. It is a deliberate choice, a sacred initiation designed to awaken the deepest reserves of strength, awareness, and compassion within you. Every challenge, every unmet need, every moment of longing, was part of a hidden curriculum meant to guide you toward wholeness. The wounds you inherited carry wisdom that only the soul can understand. They teach endurance, empathy, and the subtle art of seeing beyond surface appearances. Through the lens of spiritual purpose, your mother's pain is not merely a personal story, it is a portal into universal truths. By acknowledging her wounds, you gain insight into your own shadow, and in facing your own shadow, you awaken the transformative power that has always resided within you. Reclaiming this narrative is an act of liberation. You are no longer confined to the roles dictated by familial patterns or early experiences. Each scar becomes a signpost, each moment of suffering a teacher. The path through her wounds leads to self-realization, showing you that your life is not determined by the circumstances of birth, but by the conscious choices of your spirit. You are empowered to take the raw material of pain and transform it into clarity, purpose, and enduring strength. Moreover, this journey offers a profound gift, the ability to extend compassion not only to yourself, but to your mother and to others who carry unseen burdens. When you recognize that her limitations were the product of her own unhealed wounds, forgiveness flows naturally. Compassion becomes a bridge, connecting your heart to the larger tapestry of human experience. In this recognition, the cycle of inherited pain begins to dissolve, replaced by understanding, empathy, and spiritual freedom. Carry forward the truth that the wounded mother archetype chose you because your soul is strong enough to transform suffering into illumination. The lessons embedded in your earliest experiences are the foundation of your highest potential. What once seemed like darkness is now a canvas for growth, and what once felt like limitation is now the birthplace of resilience and wisdom. Embrace the mystery, honor the journey, and step boldly into the path your soul has chosen, one that turns inherited wounds into enduring gifts, shaping you into a beacon of transformation and awakening.